Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It's Friday the 13th, and it's the opening of the kickoff of the season for the Premier League. Wow. We will cover the fun matchups, make some predictions, but first, Mike, it's an El Douchico. What say you about Spurs City? The less the better? The more the better?
The more the better. I have a lot to say about the conspiracy theorists who work in the scheduling department of the Premier League, who decided that they were going to make Harry Kane the focal point of this game, not the champions against a potentially resurgent Spurs team. This is not going to be the Manchester City champions either. They're nowhere close to full strength. Spurs can win this game.
Oh, sure they can.
Nobody is going to fucking talk about that. It's regardless of whether Spurs win 5-0 or lose 5-0. It is all going to be about the reported new offer that City are queuing up for Harry Kane, which is somewhere in the range of, depending on who you listen to, 130 to 150. This is bullshit. We're so excited. It's opening weekend, right? It's opening day, technically, today. I'm a little hot under the collar about it, not just because I have a head cold. But yeah, I mean, I do. We'll talk about it more. I believe that Spurs can win this game, and we'll go through why in a little bit. But I want to go start with your beloved Brentford Bees taking on my hated Arsenal Gunners, right? So tomorrow at 3 p.m., clear your schedules for 3 p.m. Eastern.
Starts on a Friday.
Yeah, clear your schedules, get a pint in your hand, and sit down for 2 hours and hang out. It's going to be fun. And Arsenal, we don't know. It's hard to say a team is starting the season wobbly, but they feel wobbly. And Brentford are coming in hot. Ivan Toney, I think, scores and beats Arsenal tomorrow. I'm excited to say that.
I mean, a lot of the Brentford team is still there. Guys, like from the Euros. So this is where it gets fun, right? Euros guys come in. Brentford had the most players in the Euro of any team in the league.
Is that right?
Something ridiculous like that. But all over the place. So they had Janssen, Nordgaard, these guys that played in other parts of town, Mbueno, guys like that. So not too many, but more than you'd expect. So they were well represented in the team because their owner is Danish. So they do and they do have a lot of connections to that part of the world in football. The players to look for are Toney and Mbueno up front. Even Fosu Henry, not Fosu Mensah, Fosu Henry, another Fosu. I don't know where the Fosus are from, but there's Fosus of different types. This is Fosu Henry, not Fosu Mensah. He plays in a 10 role for them, and they're just a fun team. They will get after you. This isn't the best version of Brentford. Like I said, 2 seasons ago when they kind of got lazy in the playoffs, they're like, we got this, and they faded down the stretch and almost didn't make it. Arsenal will probably line up with their what is becoming their regular crew because they don't really have anyone in. Party's out, Nketiah's out, Rob Holding is doubtful, Gabriel is doubtful. So it'll be White, Mari, Tierney, Chambers because I don't know what happened to Bellerin. His hair and his fashion sense have left them. They probably should have sold him 3 years ago when he was at his peak. But as long as Smith Rowe is playing in the 10, I think they'll be okay. He really threads things together. They never seem to be able to get from back to front, and he seems to be the player who unlocks that. They think, from my perspective, Arsenal have more talent. There's no doubt about that. But sure. Brentford are opening their new stadium. First time with fans.
First time in the Premier League.
Yeah. They leave their venerated Griffith Park, who I've said a million times, famous because they had 4 pubs in the corner. A pub in every corner, excuse me. And they are now in Brentford Community Stadium near the Great Western Road roundabout. I happen to know that's my neck of the woods in London. I happen to know where that is. Disgusting, awful area between the airport, between an airport and Sainsbury's. My girlfriend at the time worked at the off license, aka liquor store, and was regularly held up.
Delightful. So a lot more about Brentford than I do, but this is going to be a getting to know you game for Brentford for a lot of people.
It'll be fun. I think the energy is going to be really high.
I totally agree. And one thing I was reading earlier today was, again, first game in the Premier League, new stadium, all that. The coach is Thomas Frank is also Danish, and one thing that you've talked about it on the show before, but my brother and I were trading text messages this morning, and he was saying that not a lot of people are talking about the way in which they evaluate matches. So whereas let's use Frank Lampard as an example. Last year, he was evaluated strictly as most, if not all managers are, wins and losses. It started to go ugly, and they ended up getting sacked. On the contrary, now this is reportedly, and we'll see if they actually stick to this, they focus less on the actual result of the game and more on expected goals. Mm-hmm. So think of it in this way. They have a rough patch of games. They don't win the first five, let's just say.
Mm-hmm. But it looks like they were going to win, right?
But they look like they're good, and so Frank is not going to feel any heat under his ass. On the contrary, which I'm going to believe when I see, let's say they win 4 out of 6. I don't know, right?
Arsenal, but they look like Brentford.
No, Brentford. And let's say they win 4 out of 6, and but they struggle to get over the line. They kind of just get some cosmic Liverpool luck, right? Thomas Frank there's going to be some raised eyebrows in that board. Again, I'll believe that when I see it, especially with all the money on the line, but it's an interesting way of looking at things. Now, one additional thing I want to talk about with XG and expected points, if you will, is it's in a vacuum, right?
It is. One of the reasons, if you keep shooting a lot from outside the box, you'll get incremental ticks of expected goals.
But also it doesn't take the match context into account. One of the reasons I think Brighton were the XG darlings last year, and I don't mean to besmirch your beloved Seagulls.
Don't you besmirch my birds.
One of the reasons I think they finished as high as they did in the XG table or XP, whatever you want to call it.
XG comparison, yeah.
Well, it's XP. It's expected points then, realistically,
okay,
right?
Right.
So one of the reasons is they were losing quite a bit. So they're on the front foot. They're going after it. They're really, like you said, they're getting those incremental pieces. And so I think you do, like all fancy stats in every sport, I think that they have a tremendous amount of value. I think they're very interesting. We're both sort of numbers guys. We love that shit. But you do always have to take it with just a pinch of salt.
Oh,
right?
There's no doubt about it, right? Like, so for instance, Wenger was aware of this. And one of the things that kept people thinking that Arsenal were going to win the league was that they always led the league before City's rise, like the sort of mid-period Wenger. There's early, there's Invincibles, and then there's Emirates Wenger area. Mm-hmm. The Emirates Wenger, before, when it started to get long in the tooth, like that 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, Yep. They would win expected goals when it first came out. They were one of the better expected goals. They'd play pretty stuff and then not score, right? Mm. Or shoot and miss. So it is a problem, and it does have an additive quality, like you said, in terms of context. Like, if you attack the whole game, your expected goals will be really high. But if you sit deep on a 1-goal lead, it'll be low relative to how you play. So City in the Liverpool season, when they lost in the first COVID season, had an incredible expected goals season, but they were losing all the time. And they knew that they couldn't defend, because if they tried to defend, they'd lose. Right. Whereas Liverpool would get their goals. They'd get that 2-goal lead and just like, we got our guy Van Dijk. We're good.
Right. So, and that's exactly what my brother said.
And the other flip side of it is Mourinho's Spurs last season would get that goal early and stop attacking. So their expected goals was really low, but their goals per attempt was through the roof. Like, if they got a goal early, they were like, we're done. They get 3 shots and score 2 goals, right?
How many times have we talked about, quite 10. Literally, Spurs City, where they win 2-1, 2-0.
30-shot game. I don't want to talk about that one.
No, but Spurs would have 2 shots, 2 goals, and that's it, right? Not even shots on target, 2 shots and win. So
really good shots. Like, the expected goals on it was 0.9.
Right. I'm excited, like I said, to get to know my new friends, Brentford. I'm going to be watching very, very closely. I know. I watched a little bit. You are the resident championship guy for the show, and I'm not running from that. But you got me turned on to the promotion playoffs, which I think are fascinating anyway. Awesome. So I got a little taste of Brentford, but certainly not nearly enough. And I think tomorrow I'm really going to get a good helping of what they're really about. And you alluded to it. I'm very excited. We're going to have 10 games this weekend, all with packed stadiums. It's going to be great. It's going to be really great.
If you're watching or watch the video later, we've got the schedule running across there.
Yep.
We know the lineups. It's just going to be great. But do we want to go into the Sunday premier matchup, the Sunday night football, the big game?
The Harry Kane Derby, right?
The Harry Kane Derby. To write that down.
So, and just, I always like to preface this for the new listeners who don't understand what the hell we're talking about. When Barcelona plays Real Madrid in Spain, it's called El Clasico. Laurent and I, many moons ago, when we were working together in New York, came up with the theme El Douchico, because we're both sort of douchebags. We got a bonus El Douchico in the Carabao Cup, whatever the fuck it's called, final last year, which didn't go great. But what did we do? You went 2-1 last year in El Douchico.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think so. I think I have the history here.
Some of my favorite matches as a Spurs supporter have been against City, and some of the most forgettable ones have also been against City.
AVP 5-1, legendary, 4 goals by Aguero.
Yeah. So
the non-pressing high line.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I'm very much again, I'm looking forward to it, but I might have to watch. I might have to find an alternative feed to watch without commentary. So we'll see. And one thing before we get into the game, something happened today with Tottenham, and I want to call it out, and I'm saddened by it. Paul Coiti. I don't actually know exactly how to say his name. He was basically the guy he's the MC for all the events, the Legends events, halftime show, pregame show, all that stuff. He was let go by the team. Terrible decision. Absolutely terrible decision.
Al Troutwig of Tottenham?
Yes, exactly.
Who you hate, but it's like, come on, it's Al Troutwig.
I love this guy. I got to meet him the last time I was over there. We were at the hospitality thing. It was him, Mickey Hazard, Jimmy Greaves, a couple of other Spurs legends.
Jimmy Greaves is alive? They rolled him out?
Yeah,
wow, that's awesome.
So it was, but there was a couple of Spurs, right? Spurs legends, I should say. Mickey Hazard is crazy. He's got that crazy look in his eye. I have pictures to prove it. But Paul was so humble and kind and funny and welcoming and all that stuff. He put his arm right around me and my friend, took a bunch of pictures with us, was laughing, joking with us. Just a guy. Levy always calls himself a custodian of the club, and he's fucking wrong. Paul is that, I should say. He worked there for 16 years. So I share the voice of many, many, many Spurs supporters who are upset with that. If you hear something in the 45th minute, I believe there is going to be he's one of our own chant for him, which I think is cool.
Nice.
So he's fine, he didn't die, but he got kind of screwed today. So
he got the Gunnersaurus treatment.
Yes. In fact, one might argue he is a likable version of Gunnersaurus for Spurs. So, thinking of him.
They rehired Gunnersaurus. They did the right thing.
I know. But hopefully Spurs reverse course here as well. But yeah, so with that, let's talk about the match itself.
Can I go through City's lineup?
Please do. Okay. I was going to ask you, first let's start with who's not going to play. I think that's a better way to start.
Who's not going to play? Foden, De Bruyne, Walker, probably Ederson. I have Ederson on here, but he's not going to play. Anyone who went deep in these sort of summer tournaments. So Brazil played in a final of the Copa. England played in a final, so no John Stones, no Kyle Walker, likely no Raheem Sterling, no Gabriel Jesus, no Ederson. Foden and De Bruyne are hurt. Laporte's in isolation after there was a fellow passenger who tested for COVID. So City are really not, if there's a team that can handle this, it's City.
Without question.
And the projected lineups I have, you can see they're going across the back, but it'll be Stefan, Diaz, and Ake. The weird thing, Ake is a left footer, so it means Diaz plays on the side. He didn't play in last year. He's probably not as good there. Cancelo and Mendy, both attacking fullbacks, less defensive, can be got at. Fernandinho, Rodri will really be together and shore that up with Gundogan, and then Mahrez, Fernan Torres, and probably Grealish, because there won't be anyone else.
Right.
He'll play out on the right, on the left, where he wants to play more than anything.
You don't think Bernardo has anything to say? You don't? He's gone.
It does not seem he's in the plans,
right?
And I don't know that Pep wants to play him. He'll be on the bench. I think they changed the rules. I think it's 9 bench players now. So
they do.
It's like getting bigger and bigger. 5 subs, 9 bench. The more options there are, the more it helps big teams with big rosters. That's it helps City more and more and more. Mm-hmm. I think Bernardo could be in the game. I mean, there's no reason that that he couldn't play the 9, and they could just play 3 across the front.
Right.
Just like, you guys do whatever you need to do.
And the other element here we should also say is it's Pep Roulette, right? So as much as that's an informed lineup, that makes sense to me on paper. If you remember the last competitive game that Manchester City played,
I don't want to fucking talk.
I'm sorry to bring it up, but like everybody, when the lineup came out, went, "What the fuck is he doing?" So, there's that element to it.
If he had won, it wouldn't have made a difference, right? Like,
no, it's true, but I mean, and pivoting for a quick second to fantasy, we had our draft last night. It was a lot of fun. I got a little bit inebriated, but the reason why, so we had a bunch of new players in the B division, if you will, who didn't really understand the ins and outs of it for the rest of us who have been doing this for a few years. One of the things I said, sort of as just a global advice piece, I'm like, look, if you draft Foden or De Bruyne or Sterling or Grealish or whoever from City, just prepare yourself that you're going to be, beholden to Pep Roulette. And obviously in those games where they play, they're going to get tremendous returns for you, but they will not play as much as some other players.
I mean, you can do it, but you've got to be on top of the lineups.
Exactly.
You've got to, like, an hour before every City game, you have to see who's there.
Yeah. And just prepare to just
you can't just be like, oh, he's going to play. Right. Like, like Diaz last year or Van Dijk for the last 2 years. By the way, that's why Van Dijk got hurt, because he fucking played him too much.
I like to think it was a flying red card worthy challenge from Jordan Pickford, but a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But getting back to the game, we had a lot of fun last night, but I think like I said in the open, this is a Spurs team and they're big. They have question marks as well. But I do not believe
what they have that City don't have is they have a reliable at-it finisher. Yep. I fear Heung-min Son more than any player on the planet when he's on the ball and in open space. Mm-hmm. He is fucking lethal. And it's not – and City play to defend space, right? Their defenders have to defend space. And Heung-min Son in space, it's not like he has to get close. He'll shoot and is accurate from outside the box,
25 yards,
tight angles.
Yeah,
he's got those angular shots. The thing is the problem Spurs has, and you know this better than anyone, is who's going to get him the fucking ball? Like, someone has got to make those penetrating passes. Mm-hmm. And I do think if Nuno knows how to play City, he does.
We should make that a shirt. It's just the silhouette of the beard. Nuno knows.
Yeah.
Dave and Gooch, if you're listening to this, that's going to be our first piece of merchandise on the Squeaky Bum Time show.
Yeah. He will put Bergwijn and Son in the Traore Neto roles, or maybe he'll only play one of them and try and the thing is they don't have that midfielder. I think the thing that's going to hurt Spurs that is different from Wolves is Wolves midfield had fucking Moutinho and Neves, and those dudes were fucking good. And Spurs does not have anything like that.
There are two answers to that question, both tremendously big question marks. The first one is the obvious one. How much, if any, of a part will Harry Kane play in this game? It's unlikely. He has been training. It depends on who you listen to with the reports. Is he unhappy? Is he happy? He walked back a lot of the stuff in that kind of very vague statement we talked about last week.
Historically, players that are on a head turn list just don't play.
I understand. And additionally, if he does play, because he's not going to play a full 90 minutes, I think we can both agree on that. If he comes off the bench, my goodness, is that going to be must-see television to see how much, how much of that stadium boos him.
They're not going to boo him.
Oh, believe me, some people will. Some people most certainly will. I'm telling you. And then if he scores,
no real Spurs fan is going to boo Harry Kane.
I'm telling you, they
Twitter dickheads from fucking Thailand. But not real Spurs fans from fucking North London. Get at it. That's crazy talk.
The percentage is higher than 0 is what I'll say.
They will be drowned out and had things thrown at them.
I would hope so, but I will see what happens.
So you see my lineup here of Rodri, Torres, Grealish, Mahrez. Do you have any sort of questions that seem weird to you about that group?
No. The only player I would say might make a difference would be Gabriel Jesus. Yeah. Just because, again, like Aguero is officially gone, right? He gets
out for 10 weeks. It was the smartest thing they ever did.
Yeah, right. So does he finally get the nod from Pep? Maybe. Maybe.
Well,
I don't think he does for this game, but
the latest thing he's been saying is like, oh yeah, no, I'm a winger. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, guess what, buddy?
You're
ninth on the wing. Well, you're ninth in the pecking order.
Yeah,
Then.
you don't want to be a winger. Don't say you're a fucking winger.
We have 0 players in the position you play. He's like, no. I'm going to go out on the left and play against Grealish and Sterling and Bernardo.
I'm looking forward to it. I think City with their defensive mentality can win this game, but they're gonna need finishing luck. I see it as a Mahrez. It's a close game. It's a Mahrez screamer that'll get it done because your fullbacks are not great, and Mahrez will take one of them to pieces.
So this is where I get confused because that will be Sergio Reguilon, who I don't know what to make of the fullback situation. If they're going to be wingbacks, if they're going to play a 4 in the back,
3, yeah, they knows what they're gonna do.
So Reguilon almost definitely starts off the left.
Yeah.
Is it Doherty or is it Jaf Tanganga, who's looked really good in the preseason, off the right? If that's the case, I could see basically a slanted field, which Reguilon is going to get forward, which is going to leave that channel wide open for, as you just said, Riyad Mahrez. So I don't know. But the second player I wanted to bring up, and you're going to laugh, is Dele Alli. He has been put in that role in the preseason. He's done
free role
well. Yeah. And so he's done well, and it's been against Arsenal and Chelsea. It's not against, schlubs. But, the question you have for him, there's never going to be a question about his vision, passing, shooting, all this stuff in the deeper offensive third of the field. Can he track back? Can he win balls? Can he turn up the field? Basically, you're asking him to be a box-to-box midfielder, which I'm not so sure that he is, or comfortable. And now you're going to put him in a situation where he's taking on Rodri, Fernandinho, Gundogan, some collection of that. That doesn't really spell success for me.
If he's alone in there with Skip and Højbjerg staying deep, like doing the Sissoko 5 at the back thing that they did last time. I don't think they'll do that, but
I don't know.
He's going to have a lot of work to do. Like he's going to have to get the ball, run, and then make those passes to Son or Mora and Bergwijn. I do like if you guys play those 3 up front with Son,
Bergwijn's another one, and I'm reading too much into the preseason. But Bergwijn's been good.
That's a fast group. And City, for all the money they spend, are not fast. You can run past them.
No, absolutely.
Especially there's no Kyle Walker, right?
I was going to say,
essentially
Kyle Walker won't be on the field.
Our secret weapon that basically stops all breaks.
Right.
So they don't show up in the box score, but whatever.
I actually think that will potentially create some room for Dele, because effectively the 3 will just more or less do like a 4 verticals route from like NFL blitz, right? And just go. And then the room is going to open up for Dele. What he does with it is going to be a great question. So again, like I said about Brentford, this is a discovery game. This is Nuno Espirito Santo's first competitive match with Tottenham Hotspur. And we're going to learn a lot tomorrow.
He's got to deal with it.
And not having Harry Kane.
On Sunday.
Right.
Tomorrow we learn about Brentford.
Right. So it's going to be a discovery mode for him as well. I'm very much looking forward to it. We could sit here again on Tuesday and I'm going to be a miserable prick potentially, or I'm going to be giddy. I'm going to, be singing about winning the league. Nuno knows, right?
Nuno knows, baby. Nuno knows.
We'll give our official predictions at the end of the show, but I feel good. So I'll tease it with that. What else do we want to talk about?
I have to give a final sort of thought. I have no longer can complain ever again after last season's pep out after the Leicester 5-2. So I have to stay super chill, because the fact of the matter is with City, at any time they can put their pedal to the metal and they'll just be gone.
Right? I remember last year though, we were talking about it.
They were fucking bad.
All right, hold on.
They were bad.
Let me take one step back. They weren't Manchester City, but they had 3-4 games in hand on the teams in front of them, right? So I was sitting, I'm like, would you calm the fuck down? Because they're going to play Burnley. They're going to play Leeds. They're going to play Southampton, and they're going to, that's 9 points. They're going to shoot right up the table, which is exactly what happened.
28 games in a row after that game.
I know.
No, there was a draw after.
There was a couple. They didn't lose for 19 months. But the ironic thing is, Pep Guardiola could be blamed for the Champions League final. So it's an interesting.
Could be. Of course, he's fucking. What the fuck was he doing?
I just wanted to twist your nipple a little bit there,
fucking
but
hell.
I mean, so here comes the Pep out train again potentially. Anyway, I am going to do my best to keep you in check this season. Now that I've got my kind of sea legs under me.
Although I am afraid, like I predicted City would win the league because I'm a homer. I do not think it is a foregone conclusion.
Of course, you're the doom and gloom Laurent that everybody loves, right?
Yeah, it's just like I need shitty teams to really root for. That's why, like my egg in the Brentford in the top 10 basket. I mean, sorry, in Brighton in the top 10 basket is huge. I may actually put a bet on it for the first time in my life. I saw. I may put some eggs on the old basket.
Gambling is being legalized in Florida on October 15th. By the way, very excited about that.
Oh, you're gonna lose!
Can't wait to lose a shit ton of money on Spurs.
So I already do. When I think about your team, I just look at that central defense and I giggle because between Dyer and Sanchez, Dyer the athlete. I mean, sorry, Sanchez the athlete who does things wrong, and Dyer the battleship that can't turn.
Yeah. So, I would say hold on a second there. I think Joe Rodon might have something to say about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like I said, this is going to be a discovery for all of us. So Sanchez has looked a little uncharacteristically decent in the preseason. Now, again, the theme of this show is, it's like spring training. The players come in with the best shape of their life, right? Like, so stop it, Michael. But he's been in the Toby Alderweireld pinging long balls sort of role, which I find interesting. So I think he's nailed on to start. I don't know if it will be Dyer. I don't know if it'll be Rodon. Christian Romero will not be playing a part. He's got a minor knock. So yeah, we have no idea, but let's
put up the rest of the schedule, run it across the bottom there.
Yeah.
For week one.
So realistically, a couple of other games that we were going to talk about.
You pick two that you want to talk about.
United and Leeds is going to be a fun one.
A historical classic.
Right. But we'll come back to that in a second.
They lost, I think, last season 6-2 to United. That was the McTominay scores 2 goals in 5 minutes game.
Yeah.
If you recall.
I recall. Here's an interesting, sneaky one. Despite the fact that they have no senior players almost, Chelsea just played 120 minutes on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And they're playing against Crystal Palace in a competitive game. So they are going to be a bit of sea legs. They only had to come from Belfast. It's not very far, but I'm interested why that game isn't on Sunday, England. That's awfully strange. Is Palace ready to get boat raced in this game? Probably. But would I be surprised if they got a result out of it, a draw?
A couple things about Palace. There's a lot of positive energy. As much as we loved Uncle Woy, he was the oldest manager in England. He did play some dour shit, and they were just running through the ground with their old dudes. So this team is completely remade. I think from last season, only Zaha, Ayew, well, there's a few, but the whole backline's redone. Mm-hmm. Basically, Kouyaté and Gueli is there. He's new. My guy that I drafted, and I lost him, Olise, it didn't make it because he's doubtful. But what I didn't realize that they signed is my favorite player from West Brom that I loved, Conor Gallagher, is on that team.
Okay.
He's really good. He's part of the Chelsea loan army. So Crystal Palace has 2 or 3 loanee guys, but they've really made their identity as a London team, as a ghetto team, as a street ball team. And I kind of like that because I think Vieira, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm going to say it anyway. There's something cool. There's a fucking black manager in the league. That's great.
No, I get it.
Like with a team.
It's a club legend. Well, not for Palace.
Right.
But yeah.
He's a great player. Like it's a black manager with a team that's got a lot of African descent players on it. And like, they just and South London in Crystal Palace. It's a little bit of juice, and they're going to be, doing their thing. Now they're away, they're at the bridge, so it's less interesting. But we'll see if Vieira didn't really have a great time in Nice. He was okay at NYCFC, so we'll see if he can grow into it. He may not be a great manager, but I'd like to. I feel like I'd like to see him attack. I'd like to see them lose and go out swinging. Right? There's something to those teams. And I think that we're seeing more of that in the Premier League in general. And I think one of the things that Chelsea is about under Tuchel is they'll be like, okay, we won't score. You are not scoring, but we might be having trouble scoring, but the De Niro line, right? You may know who we are, but we know who you are.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Like we may not score, but you're not scoring either.
Right. One other game that's going to be kind of shit that I want to point out briefly, and then we'll get to two more interesting games.
Yeah.
We'll pay some bills in between. Is Norwich against Liverpool.
Yay! That game was fun the first time 2 years ago.
Norwich is fun. They're take the over in this one if our shitty betting advice. But the reason why I want to mention it, right, is because Liverpool, with all of their struggles last year, get a bit of a parachute to open the season. They don't have to play against one of these premier clubs. They can batter Norwich. And just the same way they can get caught out. I'm not saying that's not possible, but if it's important for Liverpool, who limped tremendously and very luckily on the heels of
the season, right?
Goalkeeper.
They had that limp period. They lost to 6 games in a row in Anfield. That's insane.
It's
People
unheard of.
Went 15 years without 6 losses at Anfield. That's not even a joke, right?
No, I know.
For fucking years there. Yeah. City hasn't won there since like 1980.
No, I know. And so it's important for them to get out on the right foot. This is a game at Norwich, so it's not necessarily
very
good crowd. And it'll be interesting to see how Liverpool get off the mark here, especially with AFCON looming this season. So they're going to lose Mane. They're going to lose Salah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, I know how that goes when you have Yaya and he disappears for
exactly. And so they are a team that is positioned to withstand those blows, but not comfortably, I would say. So look for Liverpool to win, probably comfortably, but it's very important that they do. And they kind of go, all right, last season is over. Van Dijk is okay. Trent isn't retarded anymore. Bravo is out.
Here's the thing that really I think is being undersold, right? Van Dijk fucking tore his ACL. It's not a nothing injury. It's like no. He may never be what he was ever.
The thing is that he's so cerebral that he doesn't have to be.
Yeah, but he ran like a deer.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and the other question is, how good will he be in the air and coming down on the knee? Right. So no, you're right.
By the way, I was petrified for 5 minutes when Vestergaard signed with Leicester. I saw LCFC. I was like, they fucking signed goddamn Vestergaard Liverpool, you fuckers.
That's, by the way, I saw that as well. An underrated, very, very cool signing yesterday.
How does Leicester just get away with making, like, the funny thing is, so just a side note, we've been talking, we'll talk Man United Leeds in a minute, but it's like, how does Arsenal not get anything done? And Leicester just be like, we got this guy. Oh, we lost Fofana. No, we'll grab this other guy. What is going on?
It's really, really weird. I mean, Arsenal are having themselves a Spurs little summer there. What are they doing? They're haggling with Mourinho over the fee for Xhaka. What are you guys? The thing is that, and a friend of mine was talking about how they have a lot of players in the squad. We talked about this, but the problem is they have players that they sort of have to move out to give these guys some run. Lacazette, Aubameyang, they're in a way.
The problem is Lacazette and Aubameyang are old, but they're better than all their guys. They have to play them.
I don't know. I think not at the striker position, but I'm the one singing Gabriel Martinelli's praises here, and I don't know
every single time he
plays.
Yes,
I understand, but he's still a very good player, and he can't be counted on yet. But I'm not going to say I'm hopeful that he will. I almost said that. What the fuck is wrong with me? But for the sake of his quality, it'll be interesting to see if he can string some matches together, both from a match fitness perspective and from a selection perspective. So I don't know. We're going to talk, like you said, we're going to talk about Leicester City in a minute, and then Manchester United. But Laurent, let's pay some bills first.
Do it.
I'm doing it.
Oh, you want to do it?
No,
I'll talk to Joe. Joe's my guy.
Talk to Joe.
You've been doing the show? Man, Mike's been doing this so much. He ran out of breath to talk about our friend Joe at Attitude of Gratitude Consulting. Joe is a fine man, a consultant, helps you pay your bills, make sure that you find the money you need to pay bills, especially after COVID. People have a lot of things holding up. There's a lot of things that you have to keep track of. Like if you're one of these people who's not paying their rent, you're still going to have to pay it eventually. So he'll help you make sure you keep that on track. And at Attitude of Gratitude Consulting, Joe will make sure that you pay your bills on time, make sure that you don't go into debt, and make sure that you find a one-on-one consulting person who cares about you. This is a guy who's got his kid on his website. He's put a lot of effort into it. You can tell the conversion rate's got to be through the roof. If you can just get to attitudeofgratitudeconsulting.com and let him know that the Chop Sports Network sent you, and he'll be like, oh my God, they're reading my ads. Isn't this fantastic? And we'll get back to the show after this.
Yeah. And so the two games that I wanted to mention, like I already said, Leicester Wolves, it's going to be a bit of a discovery phase for Wolves as well.
I don't know anything about what
the post Nuno Wolves. Neto is out. Jimenez is a huge question mark coming back. Daniel Podence might be the most reliable offensive player they have on the field. That doesn't strike me with a ton of confidence. So I like Leicester to go away. Win going away with this, and they're home. It's obviously their opener. I'm worried for Wolves this year. I think I picked them 14th in the table. I don't see them in a real relegation battle. Yeah, I think we both had them in the same spot. I don't see them in a relegation battle, but it could happen. I think they would survive it either way, but it could get cagey a little ways there around maybe Thanksgiving.
Well,
Christmas.
We don't know. I don't know their manager. I mean, listen, I hate to be one of the, I don't know the manager. I don't know who their manager is.
No, I think our listeners would rather hear you say, hey, I don't know this guy yet, right? We're all gonna learn together.
I don't know the manager, and I don't know what Wolves' kind of attitude is with firing managers. They did hold on to Nuno quite a bit. They did give him a lot of rope. They let him finish the season, but he really got a bad break. He lost his striker. It didn't seem that he had other answers, which was the weird part, right?
Well, like, Neto really stepped up in that absence. And then he got hurt as well, right? So that's a broken kneecap, I believe, for Neto. That's not a joke. Like that takes a while. He's going to be out probably till about Halloween. So it's going to be a really big question. The thing about Raul Jimenez, and it made me think about Ryan Mason. Sorry, when we saw that injury go down, his playing career was over. It was a head injury, very similar to that. Even if he comes back, and he is, but like
he'll be afraid.
He'll be tentative. He'll be looking for elbows. He's
wearing a pillow on his head.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he wears like a really big thing.
I haven't seen it yet, but you're not at least right now, right away. You are never going to get 100% version of Raul Jimenez back tomorrow, right? Or this weekend, I should say. So it's a question of how long that comfortability gets there in game situations. I'm sure he's fine in training, but it's a controlled environment.
The first time Maguire from United comes and really fucking gives it to him, and it's a real battle in there. How does it react? Mm-hmm. I do want to get onto our friends at Leeds, more so because United's got a walking wounded there. They don't have Cavani, they don't have Rashford, Varane's doubtful. Lingard, I don't know what they just have a lot of dudes in their squad who we don't
Henderson
know.
isn't gonna play. De Gea is probably gonna start.
Right. We're not sure if Sancho is gonna play. He only returned to training on Monday. But the good things for news for Leeds is continuity. Bielsa has a new contract. We know from Pochettino how he trains. They do 3-a-days. Mm-hmm. So they're gonna be ready to go. They famously, their first season, had the 4-3 at Anfield. They're going to come and fight and play hard, but they remain unchanged. I think the big thing for them was they retained Rafinha. He was fucking awesome for them. Mm-hmm. And like you called out, Rodrigo, a year under his belt, they need these guys that they signed, not last year, but the year before, to step up, right? Mm-hmm. So they haven't made any signings this year, but a lot of the guys that they signed last year got hurt, like Diego Llorente, they didn't get to use. Mm-hmm, so there's a lot of.
There is one signing I want to point out. Junior Firpo from Barcelona. He's not going to feature this weekend, but he's one that is an interesting signing for me for Leeds. He fits that potential quite well, I think. So, or I'm sorry, the potential to fit in that kind of scheme, if you will.
The thing is, I think if you work hard and you're a runner and you just will work, like Bielsa's going to play you. Like if you're fit, like one thing for everyone to watch, if you watch Man United and you're a fan and you watch Leeds, they literally look thinner, leaner, and meaner than your team.
Yep.
Like there's no skinny, like out of shape dudes. They look like they're like, oh, marathon, let's go. I'll race you. Our whole team will run 26 miles as a group at full speed.
Yep.
And that's what they do. So they are high energy, high octane, led the league. We're top 5 in goals, scored and against. My kind of team. And, Bielsa is one of the great, he is the he is who's the guy in the NBA that he's an equivalent to, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The Italian guy with the mustache. No.
No.
The Italian guy used to be the Knicks coach, was the Suns coach, was
Van Gundy?
Coach. No, Italian.
I don't know. D'Antoni.
He is the D'Antoni.
Wait, stop. I got a basketball reference.
Well,
put it on the board.
I'm old.
No, it's okay.
So
he
is the D'Antoni of soccer, in that D'Antoni revolutionized how to play basketball, but never won a title, and has had great teams that are remembered and known. And that's the same for Bielsa. Very little in the way of titles, very little in the way of things, but everyone is like, that's the guy, right? Yep. He's the one who taught me how, like, his coaching tree is like the Bill Walsh coaching tree. He's got dudes everywhere. Everyone is like Bielsalismo, and he's called El Loco, the crazy one. And so this is an indictment. I don't know who I was watching it. A player, Firpo. He came from Barcelona to Leeds, and he literally said, I've seen more video breakdowns in this last 3 months with Leeds than I saw in my entire career at Barcelona. And he's been there for 3-4 years, meaning this guy's at another level, right? Yep. Like, he teaches you everything you're going to do, every move the guy has. He makes a video breakdown of it, and he's been doing that since the 80s. So,
yeah.
I am a lover.
Leeds is a must-see television, especially when they play a top 6 side, right? So they're going into Old Trafford this weekend. I believe it's one of the first games on Saturday morning. So wake up, get some coffee, get excited about it. There's not a ton else to talk about, so I don't think we'll waste any more space or air on any of these. But we're excited. So
you're not going to watch Brighton Burnley? No,
I am not going to watch Brighton.
Not for
Burnley,
you. Not. No, Aston Villa, Watford.
We alluded to predictions for El Douchico.
Okay.
The first of 2 this year, maybe another bonus one somewhere down the line in the cups. What say you, Laurent, Manchester City fan?
Where are we? At home or away? Can't remember.
You're away.
We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose 2-0, and everyone's 2-0. Gonna call 2-0, and then narrative for Harry Kane is gonna go through the roof. It's actually a tank job. We're going to lose on purpose. The players are going to throw this game. Smart. They're going to throw this game to get themselves a striker. That's very my hot smart. Take. City are throwing this game to get the striker in.
That's a hard one to top. I don't have a hot take. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win, because there is no chance in hell that back line is keeping City off the board.
Yeah, but who's going to score it? Who is scoring the goal?
You against Dyer and Sanchez.
I'm just gonna be there and just hope. I'm just gonna stand offside the whole game.
Until
someone gets to the byline and stand there, and they're just gonna kick it at me.
Here's my hot take. It's gonna be a 2-1 win, a late goal. Harry Kane off the bench.
Oh,
off the volley from outside the box. He runs, and Shawn Michaels high kick Pep Guardiola in the neck.
And then he takes off his Spurs shirt and he has a City shirt on, and he just switches teams.
There's my hot take. I had to meet with.
He's gonna go with the Balotelli. Why always me? When he pulls it
off. Man, he'll get shit thrown at him then. Trust me. But no, I think all will be well in Spurs land. This is what happens. In hope springs eternal. And I am ready to get hurt again. No doubt about it. So that's what we've got. We will talk to you on Tuesday after the first full weekend of the 2021-22 Premier League season. We're stoked about it. We know you're excited too. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks everybody for jumping in on the draft last night. Had a ton of fun there. Good luck to everyone listening.
Waiting for my cue.
And let's get out of here.
That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines, the football wing of the Chop Sports Network, where we chop it up. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode, or go to squeakybumtimepodcast.com and sign up for the newsletter. We'll send you when it comes out.
Yeah.
And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show so you can listen to more crazy people like Mike and I.